Hello everyone, this here is the LEGO Star Wars New Republic E-Wing vs Shin Hati's Starfighter set. It has 1,056 pieces, and I did build this live with the wonderful community over on my Twitch channel. It cost me $110 US. This set comes with 4 minifigures and an astromech, and we'll look at those closer later. First of all, Shin's Starfighter is significantly larger than I thought it was going to be, and it is significantly larger than I think it needs to be for just a single person fighter. That said, having so much size has allowed the designer to make something very, very, very nice and complete. This feels like going back to, I don't know, 2012 or so LEGO. You know how they've moved so much in the direction of making things smaller? Well, this definitely makes things significantly bigger. This easily could be 2/3 the size without sacrificing any functionality or any goodness as a toy. It could even be half the size. I'm really surprised that LEGO invested so much and so many pieces into budget for something that was probably guaranteed to be fairly obscure and not that important in the universe. But that said, we got something that's very nicely finished up. It does use some stickers for some of the wear patterns on there. This is intended to have asymmetry with the suggestions of paint that's worn off and everything. You know, this is supposed to be well battle worn. You got your big inlet right there. Definitely looks a lot like a late World War II fighter. Maybe it even has a little bit of MiG-15 in it. I don't know, just a little bit of it. But you can also see some Naboo Starfighter in this, a little bit of Vulture Droid, but this has a ton of space in it. You've got this opening back here, so you can put a lightsaber right there. Obviously, the cockpit is able to open up. Strangely, for something so big and thick and tall and everything, well, look at this. The figure has to sit angled way, way back. This is a printed windshield right there, and there's just a sticker for the console. Here you've got your non-firing weapons that are supposed to be the realistic ones, and then you have actually firing weapons down here on either side with the gunmetal gray colored stud shooters. They're a little bit difficult to load because they're really close in here, but beneath all of this, you lift that up and you've got a storage compartment. You can put a bunch of stuff in there. Well, wait, that's not it. You lift that up. There's another storage compartment. I've never seen such a thing from LEGO. More storage beneath the storage. Why? What is that all about? I mean, okay, making use of the space, that's good. It's just the nesting doll situation going on there is odd to me. But again, not going to complain about having more available spaces. Surprisingly, they didn't put something underneath the seat so you could put, like, I don't know, a fire extinguisher under there or something. But overall, the design of this is good. I just think there's a lot more here than there ever needed to be. Oh, even on the underside, still looks, it's fine. Not a lot of weird colors and big gaps and everything. And then E-Wing. E-Wing at last. Current canon E-Wing, not just quote-unquote E-Wing. This thing sits so high off the ground, but the build of it is very nice. Especially the wings themselves have the most satisfying connection. Before you even make any stud-based or Technic-based connections in there, the way it just slots in there is so incredibly satisfying during the build process. I had to take it apart and put it back in a bunch of times. It just felt so right. Obviously, this has gear all around. Generally, the proportioning on this is not bad. I think for its size, it could have been a little bit better. It does feel a little bit stub-nosed, and it does feel a little bit blocky and rectangular up front. But the more I go back and I look at the reference material, the modern canon reference material, the more I feel like it's more bias in me that I want this to look more like an older E-Wing, a pre-Disney E-Wing. But LEGO is trying to do the right thing. Overall, this definitely screams Starfighter. It definitely screams classic spaceship that you just want to grab and swish around. It definitely feels like something from a game, an arcade, or definitely a fantasy sci-fi universe. It speaks correctly. It feels good. It's definitely very grabbable. The angle of the wings is incredibly well situated. It's well locked in place. And check this out, the gear, lock these up over here, the gear are able to retract to some degree. So you can bring that in like that, bring that in like that, and then all of this will fold up, which makes it feel even more swishable, although the gear does still hang down here in the front. I wish that was able to, disappear more. Of course, if you want it to disappear fully, you can just pull this off. It's very easy because the ratchet joint is just a single joint that's, externally exposed. This one doesn't look as good from the underside, but it's not too bad. Once again, does not show a bunch of weird colors that you don't want to be seeing until you start really taking it apart. So they're definitely listening to our feedback and doing better about that, not showing completely unnecessary yellows and reds and tans all the time. Less of it. This does not have storage here in the back. The build around the back here was actually pretty quick along the back and the sides. The core was slow. Here you've got your astromech slot. The astromech unit has to be in sideways, so you got to rotate the head. No storage here in the front, which is fine because it's understandable. The angling prevented that from being nice and neat. X-wing canopy here. Is it the right shape? It's the closest that Lego has for sure. And then the pilot does not have to lean all the way back here, so I don't have to push him all the way back. But if you do, it's just comfortable and doesn't go too far. It's not too ridiculous. Print right here, and then underneath this pilot, check this out. More storage. That's nice. I don't mind it at all. And you can also pull that out when the pilot's not in the seat. It's just a little bit more difficult. Just pull from this handle back here. It's definitely easier to slip this out when the pilot's in place. And as for actual action features, this just has the 2 shooters on the sides here with the stud shooters, which are inboard, convenient, and easy to leave out if you don't want to see them. The E-Wing pilot is Captain Porter, and Lego does not give an official designation for the astromech droid here, but most fans are just referring to it as the IKEA droid because of its colors. I got really lucky with this one. What would that be? 1K E4? Something like that, just make it up. I got really lucky with the head of this one. The print is not too bad. Usually they're completely askew, but this one, it's not perfect, but it's better than most that I got. Just generally the print on that is pretty strong. The prints, I always like the Rebel, not Rebel, pilot figures pretty much 100% of the time, especially like the helmets and how they get printed up. You got nice printing going around the back of this as well. Partial wraparound, a little bit askew with the center ridge there. The print is just a little bit off, and also could have used a little bit more opacity in the white as usual against the slightly darker color for the legs. But this set also comes with an alternate headgear piece for this figure, which is nice. So you can run this, helmet off. Here we have Shin Hati, Baylan Skoll, and Morgan Elsbeth. I think that this version of Shin actually looks quite good. When I first built it, I thought, well, the face doesn't really work that well. At least this version of face, there's a double-sided head there. I'll show you the other version. But after watching the latest episode of Ahsoka and seeing that character a lot more, I think that this is a very good Legoification of that character, and the prints are on point. The prints for the torso, hip, and legs, that all works for me. We can always ask for cloth pieces. Obviously, they're not needed for these particular characters. They do appear with no cape on, but especially for a more expensive set, I think it's very valid to ask for all the major accessories for a given character. Did Lego know that those would be important? They should have. These are red lightsabered characters. They didn't know if they were Sith or not at the time, but they should have they should have included the capes. Anything to make them more creepy and evil looking. That said, should they have red lightsabers? I say yes. In this case, in Lego form, because if you did them as orange, Lego's trans orange is not right. Lego's trans orange is not right, and the blades do read on screen as red to me. You look closely at the blade part itself. Okay, yeah, it's orange, but it glows red. It's like a blood orange. I think this is a closer match. If you disagree, that's perfectly fine. Definitely recommend that anybody who wants to customize these, customize them. Baylan is missing three-dimensionality to his, just dimensionality to his beard. That And also with it not being the strongest print, there's just not enough beard there. Needs to be more focus on beard. Seriously. Seriously. This is such a, he has such a strong face in the way that he's set up there in this show in particular. Yeah, that doesn't do him justice. The printing down here is fine. The use of the gunmetal gray is cool. Morgan Elsbeth's character looks perfect. One of the most accurate looking Lego figures I think that I've seen in the past decade. That face, that hair, that torso, just so incredibly good, just so perfect. The hair piece has a really nice sculpt to it as well. It's really making this hair piece here look rather old and dated, which is fine, but the progress, I respect it. And yeah, for something collector level like this, something that's licensed, I am fine with Lego going more realistic. They don't need to always go realistic with all things, but this I think is so well done. And then we have these alternate faces, right? These are also very good. And then these are the leftover pieces. Yes, that is a dark pink colored Technic half bushing, and the sticker sheet looked like this, all rectangular stuff, but a fair amount of reliance on these for some color blocking. Again, the price I paid for this was $110 US. It is 105 euros. It is 95 pounds UK, 140 Canadian, which is approximately $102 US for 1,056 pieces. If you see this set in a store, you're going to see this box. You say, wow, that's a big old box for two small starfighters. Okay, and Lego is trying to get our attention. We get it, but why do they make these packages so big? This box was full. This is one of the most stuffed boxes that I've come across from Lego in the past decade. I mean, it was full pretty much to the top. So if you see this, know that you're getting that much stuff. Don't just look at the look at the part count. It's about the total amount of what you're getting. Obviously, there's some bags in there that takes up some space and all. Still plastic bags. Still plastic bags. Yeah. Honestly, I'm not hating on the value here at $110 US in 2023. I think that if they release the E-Wing by itself, which is what I personally am most interested in, it would have to be a $50 set. It would come with a couple figures and the ladder or something like that, And it would be $50 easily. There's a bunch of stuff here. There's a bunch of stuff here. It's not a simple build. This I would want to be like 30, 35, but it's too big. It would have to be at least 40 as a standalone thing without any major side builds or any verses. So I'm looking at about $90 worth of value here on today's market, just being reasonable with the fact that Lego has always been an expensive European premium toy, and just looking at where things are in general, price-wise on the market with Lego and without Lego, apart from them, about 90. So I'm looking for approximately a $20 discount off of this for it to feel good to me. And, when those discounts happen, great. When they don't, you're not getting completely ripped off here, in my opinion. I just really, and the figures are even good. I just really wish that this was smaller. It's not that it would have made it a cheaper set though if this was smaller. They just would have had other stuff instead. This is just way too much ship for a small expendable one-person starfighter in 2023. As they've downsized things so much, this E-Wing fits with the downsized X-Wing and so on. This does not fit with the modern philosophy. But then again, the way that Lego designs stuff, this is well known. They first get a budget and a general list of things that should be covered in a set, and then the designer has to go and build to that budget. So they could have made this smaller and then put a bunch of little stuff in there, and then I would have been complaining, why did they pack it up with all this little stuff? Why did they pad it up with all this little stuff? Just make it a cheaper set in the first place, and just give us the most important things. The designer instead focused on just the most important things. Ship. The designer, the whole design team did everything right with this. Given what they had to go off of, keep in mind, speaking of things they have to go off of, they don't get good information from Disney. Legos is well known as an untrustable partner when it comes to keeping secrets. They leak like a sieve. So of course Disney's never going to give them, information about plot and stuff in advance. Lego gets like concept art a year ago, maybe even more than a year ago is when the designers were able to start working on this set. So as of the time of the recording of this video, we've not had this. We've not had a New Republic E-Wing versus a Shin Hati's starship, and that's fine. We just have to live with that. The particular inclusion, the particular figures that are used here, are they the best? Are they the ones that people would have wanted, everyone would have wanted for this set? Not necessarily. We just have to live with that. Ultimately, it's primarily a toy set. It has good collectability with the figures. This is nice. This is nice too. It's just not that important, And so that's where value falls down, I think, for me at least. It's well done. Just easily could have been 2/3 the size, even half the size would have been fine. It's just a simple little thing. A microfighter, somebody mentioned in the Twitch chat while I was building this, a microfighter of this would work really, really well and be fine. Because then, you can have a whole squad of them for less than the value of this. Although microfighter prices have gone up now, which sucks. It's gone up a lot. Ugh. Anyway, good job by the design team on this. I would like to see 20% discount for it to feel good to me, but at its retail price, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Yep. Thank you for watching. If you want to see my live builds, please be sure to follow me. Don't subscribe. Subscribing is another thing on Twitch. You just hit the follow button. It's free if you have an account. If you don't have an account, just come over and watch. I do stream most days over there, at least 5 days per week. And if you're interested in purchasing anything that you see me review, I am not sponsored, but you can help the channel out directly just a little bit by using an affiliate link from the video description, entirely at your discretion. But thank you for watching. Hope that you've enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.